Good day and welcome here to sportsdaz.ie. It's 2021 and of course we're kicking off the new year with our feature segment, The Fair Green, where we get to talk to past and present players about their career, their hopes for the future, and they also get to make and break friendships with our Fantastic Four. Well, certainly one of the big stories of 2020 was the revival of Cavan Camogie. All-Ireland champions in the Nancy Murray Cup came so close to a historic double, and I'm delighted to say our guest today is the captain of that team, a dual county title winner this year, a dual All-Ireland winner in her career. We'd like to welcome Cavan's Erinn Galligan to the Fair Green. And first, Erinn, welcome to the Fair Green.
Hi, Darren. How are you? Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is absolutely ours. Erinn, we are recording, of course, before Christmas in 2020, but as you get time to reflect on the Cavan Camogie year that you have had, what's your first thoughts?
Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a roller coaster of a year. I guess when we regrouped together as a team to first compete at national level in November, we didn't know where the year would take us. It was all unknown, and it was up to us as players and management and the county board to map it out what we wanted in front of us, I guess, and see what obstacles we kind of came across. So we got the ball rolling in November, and we started out with the usual hard running and gym sessions and fitness tests and that. And we got that done before Christmas. We took a break for Christmas, had our celebratory nights out, which were few and far between since. But then we regrouped again in January, and everyone was looking forward to the preparation for a league and see where exactly the team were at. And we played a couple of challenge matches that probably didn't go the way we wanted to go in January. But looking back now, it was a learning curve. We got to see everybody play together then and get positions for people and change up things. And I suppose we were finding our footing in January too. Then we went out and we played our 3 league games. And from those league games, I suppose we got a little bit of a fright in ourselves. We had competed so well. We bet Roscommon and Tyrone, which we were very happy with. We competed very well against Limerick's second team, who were in the All-Ireland junior final last year. So we were very happy with how we were competing and how we were rolling and how we had got together. Unfortunately, then COVID kind of put a stop to us. We maintained meeting together on Zoom, trying to get a few skill sessions in and a wee bit of strength and that, as every other team was, for the months. And then I suppose being a new team, I was a bit kind of nervous about having that break, as in, did we have to build the camaraderie and build the regroup and the bond and what we had developed in the team during the league? Would we have forgotten all that? But when we came together in October, the girls had the bite again. We all came together and we were hungry just to get back out in the pitch and see could we follow on from where we had left off in the league. And training had went really well. You could see night after night that bond coming back and the grip between everyone's teeth, dying to get back into championship. So when we started out then against Tyrone and Louth in the Nancy Murray, we put good score lines together, good team performance, and everybody was back confident and happy and just raring to compete against even stronger teams. So it was brilliant. We got to the Nancy Murray final and we won 8, which was our goal at the beginning of the year. So once we had ticked that box, we were content enough. But I think we had kind of got greedy in ourselves during the year, thinking that we had it in us kind of to compete at an even higher level when we could see the score lines that we could put up and how we were performing against the teams in the Nancy Murray. We were delighted that we got the opportunity then to compete in the Premier Junior, and that Premier Junior game, first game was against semi-final was against Roscommon. So that game was you could see everybody was really gunning for that game. Everybody had their eye on that game to see could we get over Roscommon, a bigger and better team, in the semi-final in championship and reach that all-important All-Ireland final. So we went down and we played that in at league, and I don't know whether we froze in the first half or the first water break, but we didn't perform. And we came out as a different team in the second half, and we just put the scores together. Our forward line really linked in the second half, and it was a joy to play, and it was a joy to close out that game, Cavan girls, to be honest. I know we were leading into an All-Ireland final after that day. a great achievement for Cavan Camogie. But then we've set our sights on Armagh then in the All-Ireland final. We knew it was going to be a massive step. We knew Armagh had been in the All-Ireland 2016, had been in and around junior All-Ireland semi-final ranks for a good few years. They were a developed team. So we knew that this was going to be the pinnacle. So we done our best on the day. Couldn't fault anyone's work rate or desire or anything on the pitch. We represented the jersey well. A few things went against us on the day. They had a few very strong players that we failed to get a handle on. It was a draw game, 5 minutes to go, which is probably sad enough to say, but then I suppose we just lost it really in the last 10 minutes. They came strong at the right time, maybe their experience and getting some lick of the green in the last 5 minutes kind of pushed them over the line too. It was a very good game. I'd say it was good for the neutral. I feel happy that we represented Cavan well, but obviously disappointed that we couldn't close out on them last 5 or 10 minutes of an All-Ireland final. But these things happen, so that was our year.
But of course, he came so close to making that history of 2 All-Ireland titles. But it was a good point you mentioned earlier on, and you probably got this from a lot of people outside of the group and outside of Cavan too, because I was at the semi-final against Roscommon, and of course your second half performance was as good as any I've seen this year. But when you talk about the league match and you didn't know what to expect going into that game against Roscommon, and I'll admit I saw Cavan back, it's great that they're getting a team out there. And that was the result of that weekend. And I stood back and went, whoa, something's going on here.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we had got that feeling during the year ourselves as players and as management. Because when you when you've laid it out, your 15 starting team and then your 15 subs or whatever way you were going to look at it as in 30 of a panel, it was just so competitive. There was girls for every position competing, and there were very strong camogie players with a lot of experience behind them and a lot of grit as well in the girls. They're hard on themselves, they're high achievers, they're very enthusiastic. It is a great wee team of girls pushing on. I've been around a lot of camps, and you might have your leaders, you have 5 or 6 leaders and the rest just slot in. But I really feel with Cavan Camogie there is just it's oozing leaders and people that are dying to perform, dying to improve, find their faults, see where they can improve and drive on. And I think that shows in our performances. When we look back, we're never happy, never satisfied. And definitely if you look back at that All-Ireland final, we're not satisfied or happy. So potentially it's a good thing. It might push us on for 2021. But I suppose, as you were saying there, we might have been a new team on the outlook, but us within the camp, we actually had great confidence and belief in ourselves and what we could do and how we can still improve, to drive ourselves on even further.
I love hearing that too, because Erinn, it would be no secret, I suppose, of maybe a decade ago, and we'll talk the camogie side in a second, that Cavan were probably struggling to promote hurling and camogie, but it's been great work done to get the hurlers back out in the field. And of course, last year now, 2020, getting the camogie team back out in the field. And as you just said there as well, that knit of players were all determined to do well. You had leaders throughout the fields, and it showed in your results. Only 2 competitive defeats all year.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. And to be honest, at the helm of all that, we have an exceptional county board. Now, as I often say, we mightn't have the volume of people that other counties would have, because I guess camogie Ireland, that is a second sport in comparison to football, but we mightn't have the volume, but we have the quality of people, and we have people there that will spend hours upon hours of their day, 7 days a week, to try and push camogie on. And it's testament to those people at the helm and working in the background that has us been able to even put together a team to get girls out training, to give us the training facilities, to put management in place. There's so much little nooks and crannies and pieces of the chain that needs to be pieced together before we can even start competing. So thankfully we have a great county board and people to help us, to allow us as players to do that. And we had that there's always been a core group of people in Cavan who absolutely love their camogie. And we mightn't have been able to see the fruits of that in other years with no competitive team, no competitive Cavan team. But there was people there all the time that have put in hours upon hours. And, unfortunately, their time might have passed now. They might have moved on with families and things have to change in people's lives. But they are not forgotten in all this. They are the trainers that have brought on our juveniles through the years when there mightn't have been much highlight or much advertising on what they've done. They've done solid work at grassroots levels to bring us on and promote us. So it's all testament to them in the background as well.
And there is a vibrant club scene in Cavan, which we'll talk about in a moment. But when I was researching for this interview, Erinn, I was stunned that you actually only made your Cavan Camogie debut this year. I assumed you had played for the team back when 10 years ago as well. So needless to say, 2 years ago, if I had said to you you're going to captain Cavan to an All-Ireland Camogie title, you probably would have laughed at me.
I would have laughed at anybody else too, but I suppose it all happened so quick. I suppose I didn't really overthink it, to be honest. I was captain of the Crishelaw club scene there for the last few years, and I suppose maybe it was just an automatic advancement after being captain of the club, the county, the club. The county title winning club, that I was nominated then maybe to captain the county. But I was absolutely honoured and still am honoured to lead such girls, But there's no leading in them girls, They're all captains. They're all well able to see where we have to improve. They'll all give the shouts at training saying, come on, this is crap, we all need to lift it, And, some days I'll go in and I'll be a bit quiet or that at training, trying to gather myself or mightn't be on time and rushing from work and no helmet or something like this, and the girls will be roaring at me, will you come on and hurry up and get stuck in? We all boost each other on. So my job's made easy by being surrounded by such fantastic girls and management as well. We all knock off each other, and I think that's a testament to our success so far, maybe.
Camogie's always been your passion, I know that, but what's even more remarkable the story, you weren't even playing camogie at club level for a few years too. You started off playing camogie, and correct me if I'm wrong, your mum was a trainer, but when you couldn't play with the boys anymore at under 14, you had to move on, was that correct?
Well, I started playing camogie up here in the primary school in Drumkilly. Mum used to come in after school and coach us in primary school. So that was I'd say from about 8 till about 11 or that. And then after that, then I was playing football as well with the local club team here, Crishelaw, with the boys. And I had fallen in love with football as well. And the camogie wasn't as strong. So unfortunately, football kind of took over. And I was asked into the county under 14 girls scene here in Cavan. But I needed to be registered with a ladies club team. So I had to move to my neighbouring club here of Lacken because Crishelaw had no ladies team. So I registered with Lacken ladies down here and was welcomed down there with open arms. Thanks to everybody down there. And so I started football, actually became my main priority then, playing with the club down there and with the county scene. And I advanced on through the county ranks then, under 14, under 16, and on up to minor. And football just took over then. I went to college in Sligo, and then I actually ended up going to college further on in Aberdeen in Scotland. But football had taken over. And it wasn't until midway through Aberdeen, when I was about 24, 25, some of the local girls here were like, will you ever come back to camogie? I know they were always at me, but I felt like I didn't have time between college and part-time work and county football and club football. I thought I just didn't have time. So when the girls advanced or approached me around here and said, will you ever get your rear in gear and come back to us? I always knew I'd come back. It was just about a bit of time management, and a bit of a push, I suppose. So when the girls got on to me here, I went back up, and God, I fell straight in love with it. We had such competitive bunch of girls up there as well. Some of the older girls that are actually still around, they're some of my best friends now. I know they might have families of their own now, but they're still staunch camogie players. They love their camogie, they love Crishelaw Club camogie, and they love to see the county doing so well as well. And just fell in love with the whole setup again, and there was no going back then. As soon as I picked up the whole back up there, about 24, so I'd say about 9 years ago, we done really well with the club initially, and won an Ulster club title. I'm going to say that was 2012, I think. My years might be matching up here now, but something around that. And we actually went to London then and played in an All-Ireland semi-final against Tara in London. So that was just, great crack and a great bond. And it grew from that, my loving for it again. And then I've captained the local team here for the last 5 years, and we've won Ulster club titles there and that. So yeah, I love it now more than ever, to be honest. So happy out between. Well, I'm still playing with Lacken Ladies Club, which is obviously a different club to the football, but that's another story.
I'm going to be coming to that because I actually realised too when I asked the question, I was mixing the two codes up. I was actually kind of talking about what led to Lacken rather than leaving across.
Your own parents can't keep up here by time, so.
Well, you had a very unique 2020 at club level too. We'll get to that in a moment. Just when we're talking about football, of course, I mentioned in the intro, you're a dual All-Ireland winner too, because you're part of the Cavan setup that won the All-Ireland Intermediate Championship in 2013.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was studying in Aberdeen at the time, so I was over and back for that campaign. That was a phenomenal build-up. The girls had lost the All-Ireland 2011, so I think that hurt. I wasn't a member of that now panel, but I think the hurt of that spurred them on in 2013. And there was a great blend of youth and experience there in that 2013 team. And All-Ireland was definitely in that making from underage ranks. Cavan had won a lot through Ulster, and it was just a matter of time until an All-Ireland came. So yeah, I was blessed to be part of that panel. I was away for a lot of it. I suppose I was away for up until the summer, and then I was home for the summer, so I was around from the summer on. But I was delighted. Yeah, sure, I have best friends, who were on that panel with me and played that day. So it's unreal that we have that moment, and that moment made in history, and the All-Ireland medal in the back pocket. It's lovely. We're surrounded by such good friends, that I've played county football with for 10 odd years or more.
How difficult is this, Erinn, to commit to a county team, especially when you're living abroad? As you said, you were over in Aberdeen at the time, so no doubt it was difficult to kind of maintain the commitment for the Cavan setup.
Yeah, well, I found it very difficult because the type of player I am, I have to be training, I wouldn't have a natural level of fitness or pace or anything like that. So I need to be at it to be at my best kind of thing. So I found, in 2013, when I was over and back to Aberdeen, I found it difficult to keep up to the pace of the game, to be honest, when I was away from competitive training. Now, I was trying to do my bit in Aberdeen, but it's just not the same when you're not competing against people who are pushing themselves on to try and get a jersey on the starting team or that. I just felt like I was constantly behind and trying to catch up, and a little bit of frustration, I suppose, set in by times when I wasn't good enough or when I wasn't making the team. But I just kind of had to sit back and say, I'm studying, like my career has to take priority at this stage anyway in my life. So I was just happy that the management allowed me to come over and back and be a member of the panel, and I did commit as much as I could in the summer then. I was never missed a training in the summer, but I felt like I hadn't really got the spade work done during the winter or that to really push on. Felt like my sharpness might have let me down, in the heel of the hunt. But regardless of that, I'm absolutely delighted to have the All-Ireland medal, and to win with the girls, as I say, is just fantastic.
Well, that's it wasn't too long after that you wrapped up playing for the county football, if I'm correct.
Yeah. I finished up after that. Yeah, I do think Camogie had a lot to say. No, exactly. I do think Camogie had a lot to do with that, to be honest. I went back up to Crishallow, and I just fell in love with the scene up there. And to be honest, the club was doing so well, as in we had got through to Ulster club for a good few years. So we were actually training October and November with the club anyway. So I was happy enough to just train with the club and then take my break then for December and January and not go back into a county scene then, and just take my break and then go back to the club scene then again in February. It was what I wanted to do at the time, and I'm still happy enough with my decision.
Did it feel like you were starting all over again because you'd rediscovered that passion for camogie that no doubt you always had? And then, of course, you went into a setup there with your friends and you were enjoying success with the club?
Oh yeah, I suppose I kind of nearly regret now that I did take that break, that I did miss those few years with Crishelaw, because as I say, like I would have loved to have spent even more time playing with some of the older girls that might be finished up now, and now are our supporters. But it is what it is, I had to make different choices between career and studying and football and camogie, and I did what was best at the time. But now I'm just so happy and lucky to be surrounded by the such a great club setup, and now the county setup has just given me a renewed boost. Now I don't know how many years I've left to commit or whatever, but sure, it's a short year now, so we'll roll over into 2021 and we'll take it month by month then.
Erinn, I can imagine we'll have plenty of conversations about inter-county for a few more years at least anyway.
Oh no, yeah, well maybe we'll see how the body holds up, but so far so good. Yeah, still loving it.
You've talked about success club in Camogie and Crishelaw, and we'll talk about Jimmy Greville in a few minutes. At the same time, you're continuing your football career at Lacken. Like there was county success in 2014. I know there was some beforehand too. And all of a sudden then Crishelaw decided to start focusing on football.
Yeah, I'm going to say about 5 years ago they set up their own ladies football team, but that was with no surprise, because at under 14 and under 16 level, Crishelaw ladies were kind of like ruling the roost, one of the top clubs at juvenile level. So it was only a matter of time until them girls progressed on to a senior club team. A lot of those girls would have won medals even with Cavan under 14 and under 16. Like some of the girls captained them, there was just fantastic footballers around the club. So it was only a matter of time, as I say, till they had a senior team going in the club. And they are up there, they've just great people, great volunteers around it. They love their football. And like that, they're driving on the club scene massively. They have a great young team now, Crishelaw, and they will be the team for the future, or like they're the team of the present and a team for the future, years and years to come. It's scary, it's frightening nearly, the quality and the talent that's up there and the competition for places. You'll see that as Crishelaw won the county junior title this year, actually. So they had a team competing in the senior county final and the junior county final, and their junior team won it. So they have just so much competition, so many girls up there mad for the football. So it's a great club. It's a great club up there now, to be honest, mixing between the camogie and the football. So
have you been tempted to transfer back in football?
No, I wasn't tempted. I'm honoured to be asked back, and the people have said I'd be welcomed with open arms and that. So I'm delighted to hear that, But as I always say, if Lacken aren't playing, then I'm Crishelaw ladies' #1 supporter, I've spent a lifetime with Lacken. I've some of my best friends are down in Lacken. I was treated so well when I went down there. I have some phenomenal memories when I was a child, basically a child down there. We won a county junior title, and we progressed on to Ulster junior final against High Holland in Clonus when I was only, I think I was 14. We went up to Kilcar in Donegal on a bus, and I remember it was one of the best days of my life, I'd say, being surrounded by all the girls, and we had such a great bond there, and I was well looked after by the likes of Rosie Mulligan, Linda Kenny and all down there. I remember them all coming to collect me, and Rosie's little red polo and was fighting for the front seat, and all those memories can't be replaced, and I just feel like my time with Lacken has been just so phenomenal over 20 years that I'm just so happy to have them memories banked, and I'm just happy enough with the way things are now. I've still such great friends down there, so I'll not fix what's not broken at the minute.
Because I suppose just so listeners know as well, Erinn, it's not just that you picked out a club when there's no football to play back when you were under 14, it's that you actually live effectively halfway between the two clubs. You're in the Crishelaw side, yes, but you're as close enough as both to Lacken as you are to Crishelaw.
Oh, I am, certainly. Yeah. It's as much of a muchness to go to Kinloch pitch, which is Crishelaw's pitch, as to go to Lacken. So I'm lucky in that sense. I'm either going up the road or down the road. You know what I mean? There's no big travelling or anything like that. So I'm blessed in that regard.
Now, as fate would have it, in 2020, you won 2 county titles. Won the Camogie with Crusher, nothing unusual there. You won the football with Lacken, nothing unusual there. But you won the football with Lacken playing Crusher.
Yeah. It was I suppose, a different kind of a game or a matchup for me personally. But as anyone that knows me, or anyone that I even play with, they'd have the exact same thing. Once you have the jersey on, you're all for that team. You're all for the girls that are playing on that team on the day. So you put on the jersey and you fight hard, and it's for the team on the day. So in the county football final, it was Lacken jersey I was wearing that day, so I was going to do anything I could to try and get our team over the line. And then for the Crusher Camogie, whenever I put on the Crusher jersey, I'm all for Crusher Camogie and dying to help our girls and do what I can to help us get over the line. It's just it's nothing to do with who you're playing against. It's all who you're playing with and just you want to win. So it worked out fine. And the girls on both sides, I have great friends on both sides. It's a laugh a minute with them. When we get onto the pitch, yeah, it's all serious because we all want to win. But that's the competitive nature in us. It's a really healthy rivalry, healthy bit of crack, and we all have fun before the pitch and after the pitch.
Do you ever have any potential incident with a Crusher player when you're playing football that nearly got heated?
No, actually, no. We're all pretty okay with each other. Nothing has materialised out of anything. No, a few knocks and bangs here and there, and bruises and all that you'd be rubbing into each other the odd time, or an odd bit of a complaint if a ref doesn't give you a right decision that you'd hear plenty about. That you're a complainer, and a bit of abuse and that. But it's all water with ducks back. It's all healthy and a bit of a laugh.
Just before I leave in that one, Erinn, of course, the history of Gaelic games is littered with people winning dual county titles in the same year with different clubs. But of course, talking about this unique situation as well, how was the build up to that? Like you're out training with these players one moment trying to win a Camogie title, and then you're still knocking around the parish, even though you're training with the other team for a football title. Is there ever kind of that sense of weirdness for the week or two beforehand, or do you just try and keep your distance when the football is coming? What way does it work out?
It works out fine. To be honest, we just don't think about it. We have our Pacific Camogie nights for when I'm up in Crishlaw, and we train with Camogie then, and there's not really many mention of football. And then the following night, I'll go down to Lacken and I'll just train my football with Lacken, and the girls will be up with their football at Crishlaw. There's never really any crossover or any bother. I prepare like anything else. But to be honest, they're generally split. So you might have a Camogie championship final, and we'll say one Sunday, and then 2 weeks after, then it'll be a football championship final, or maybe a week after. So you're not seeing the girls that week in preparation for the county final anyway, because I'm down in Lacken for that week. We wouldn't be training with Camogie that week in preparation. So it works just fine. And as I say, if I do cross, sure, I'm always up in Kinleck, up in the town. You'd have people like throwing out an odd bit of abuse here and saying you'd have to go away for this weekend and this sort of stuff, But sure, you give as good as you get, and sure, it's all banter, and it's all, as I say, it's all healthy rivalry, healthy banter, and that's what it's all about, as long as we can maintain that, and I think we will. There's such a great bunch of girls in Lacken and Crishlaw. They have a great positive outlook. They're all just happy playing their sport, and there's no negativity, or there's no she said this, he said that. There's none of that. It's all mature fun. So I never feel anyway unwelcome in any area, in any code. So I'm lucky with the people I'm around.
It's a bit of banter as well. I don't have them in front of me here, Erinn. I just wondering, have you any club action to look forward to in the new year? How are Crusher or Lacken getting on in the Ulster Championships?
Yeah, we have, with Lacken football, we have the Ulster Club semi-final. It's the 9th of January. No, it could be the 10th, but it's that weekend anyway. I think it's the Sunday, up in Glenfin, in Donegal, against the Donegal champions Glenfin. So we have that. So we're back with Lacken now. We'll be pulling stop on that training now this weekend, and hopefully have a week or 10 days off for Christmas. And then with Crishelaw, then we haven't got the Ulster Club campaign started with that at all. So we just have the first round of it against Antrim champions, and there's no fixed date for it, middle to end of January. But obviously all this depends on COVID cases and that, post Christmas and that. So we'll just take it one step at a time. But yeah, we're back to the club scene training, enjoying it. It's not too tough or too hectic, but enjoying actually being back at Lacan after such a long camogie season there, just kicking a ball and seeing those girls again. And it'll be the same when I get up to the club girls in Crishelaw, you know. Just it's nice to spice it up and change it up again and do a wee bit, but I'll be enjoying the Christmas break as well.
Oh yeah, at least it'll be a short one anyway, based on a busy schedule, but something great.
Yeah, well, anyone who knows me knows I'll make hay when I do get the time anyway.
I've no doubt. Just when you mentioned COVID there, and before I finish up with the intercounty, you're a qualified pharmacist too, if I'm correct. How has this year been for you work-wise?
Yeah, I suppose when March came initially, when the first lockdown was coming in or was preempted, it was very tough then. I think it was the anxiety in people and the kind of the stress that was on people and the worry of what was to come. It was, you know, very much negative and doom and gloom around with people. So that was quite stressful. And then a lot of our practices had changed in the way we do our job. Basically, we introduced a new health mail system, which we had to come to terms with very quickly because the GPs weren't seeing as many patients with lack of interaction and that. So we had to adjust to that. But that was like about 2 months, you know, where we had to think on our feet and had to take everything, you know, laws and legislations were changing every second day and that. So just kind of had to keep up with it and just power through and just know, you know, that we will get through this. But since that, it's plateaued out a bit. I think people knew that now that we were in this for the long haul and people started to settle. Our work practices became more, we adjusted to them better and we began to know them better. So now it's fine. You know, obviously it's busy now building up to Christmas, but we've adjusted to the way things have changed rightly. And yeah, it's fine now, to be honest. I'd say if we went back to what it was prior to COVID times and what had changed, we'd have to spend time adjusting back. So we're happy out with the way things are now. Busy build up to Christmas, all right, you know. There's a lot of people shopping local, which is great, and promoting that. So, you know, people aren't making the long trips to Dublin or Belfast or whatever. So the shop is busy and as a result the dispensary is busy. But, you know, the buzz of Christmas is great. We've had such a lull there for a couple of months during the year with lockdowns and that. So seeing people coming through the doors and obviously acting responsible, but that buzz of people coming in and smiles on face and talking about Santi coming and all, you know, it gives people a lift.
It certainly does. And I worked 7 years in a pharmacy myself, and that's the real buzz you get, the personal interaction with customers and getting to know them as well. If you don't mind me asking, it's going into 2021 with the hopefully vaccines going through safely enough for everyone, would that impact your role in particular, or is that just something that won't really affect pharmacy as much?
No, it probably will affect pharmacies, but it won't be until like the middle of the year or that, when the whole big rollout is done of the vaccine. The initial rollout is probably going to be, now don't quote me on it, but it's going to be in like the long-term like care facilities and then in hospital and that kind of areas for healthcare workers. And then the next one then is probably the mass rollout, which will involve it'll involve the large mass vaccination units. I think they're thinking of developing where there's going to be a bigger area for a large amount of people to attend, and also then GPs and pharmacies. So I suppose we're a good bit down on where they are going to be made available, and there's not really been that much rolled out to us with regarding guidance yet. But I guess it just depends on how the initial vaccination goes and results of that, and the availability and distribution and all further down the line. But I'd say by the time it'll impact pharmacies, it'll probably mid 2021, I'd say, because there's so many other vaccination centres will be the first port to call, I guess.
Hopefully it's all positive development over the year. We can get back to some form of normality. Before we finish up the segment, Erinn, I have to go back to the Nancy Murray Cup because that's where I want to finish up the season. look, you went into that championship campaign. There was yourselves, Tyrone and Loud. You would have known you were favourites based on the form you'd shown, but of course that counts for little on the field of play. But leading up to that final, was there a feeling that if we can just deliver on the day, that we're going to achieve our main target for the year?
Oh, 100%, yeah. And as you say, it was all going to be on the day. And any day, any of the big guns can be knocked off. Like we've seen that even in men's championship football this year with Kerry being eliminated and maybe Cavan.
Go on, you can say Cavan and Donegal, you can say it.
Yeah, Cavan and Donegal, and I had to get that in there. So that was a great day for Cavan, and fair play to the lads. That gave us a serious boost during tough times as well. But as I say, getting back to it, any favourite can be knocked out on any day. So we just knew that we needed to take the game step by step, play for the first water break, play to half-time and going on like that, and don't let any favourite label or anything like that bring in any complacency. But as I say with the girls, I'd be very surprised if I seen complacency in those girls. They're very driven, they all want to perform personally and want the team to come together to perform as well for the good of Cavan Camogie. So I was going into that final, I was optimistic, and I was happy that there was going to be zero complacency. And I knew that if we did perform on the day, as I say, that we would come out with that title, which was good, and thankfully it did work out on the day. Now I would say, I'll hold my hand up, it wasn't our best performance by no means, and I think we were all disappointed with our performance on the day. But maybe that's testament to the girls us all being a bit hard on ourselves sometimes and wanting to play better. But then conditions on the day were woeful. It wasn't a day for Camogie. There was rain and wind that it just cut you in two, I remember doing the warm-up and I nearly felt like I couldn't run in one direction because the wind was blowing me back so much. And I remember going for one strike, not that my shooting is ever on target anyway, but God, it was woeful. The stick went one way and the slitter went the next. But so it was hard conditions for both ourselves and Tyrone to really show what skills we had on the day. But come here, win's a win and we'll take it. And it ticked our goal off that we set off at the beginning of the year. So we were all happy out leaving that day.
Because I was just going to ask you about the conditions as well, because I watched that match and it looked terrible to have to play in a cold, windy Saturday night. But you dealt with it nicely, like you mentioned the four quarters. But what impressed me most, I suppose, and it was similar to the All-Ireland semi-final in Premier Junior against Roscommon that I was at, is that you took control of the game in that third quarter again, and you drove on, and you looked like you were comfortable in that position.
Yeah, we were. Now, the first half, I suppose, maybe it was nerves. It was still a final at the end of the day. It was still like being live streamed. This sort of thing that maybe it was just like a bit of nerves and needing to perform well and that, and then just finding our feet and balancing the conditions as well. It was a mixture of things that maybe threw us in the first half. But in the second half, I suppose we kind of went in with our heads down, kind of saying, God, what are we doing here? Why is this scoreline so low? And why are we not performing the way we can? Because we would have played them up into Tyrone beforehand and we knew that we had performed so much better. So I think we were just like nearly frustrated that we weren't playing as well as we could. So we came out in the second half and the girls started to gel better. We kind of started to win midfield better and we kind of brought our game to them. They kind of lost their shape a bit and it was kind of all in our quarter then for the last 15. And the girls popped up with some lovely scores and really the last 15 minutes showed what we could do as a team collectively.
It was a great performance and added on to a great year as well. Couple of questions, Erinn, before we finish up this segment. One, we talked about the season already, but talk me through standing up there to lift the trophy and looking down at your own teammates, your friends, and how much it meant to you personally, as much as Cavan, that you were All-Ireland champions.
Yeah, well, I suppose personally, I was just so grateful that I had the opportunity to be the one that was going up the steps to lift the cup. I was just so happy for the girls who had put in the work in a hard year, to keep it going. There's girls there that make savage sacrifices, travelling journeys, and I know this is the same for every county team, but travelling journeys and then leaving like small children at home to come out in the wet and the rain of November to come out and train. So just really happy for those that they got their All-Ireland medal and they have it in their pocket. As well as that, just happy for the county board to see the fruits of all their hard work all their long phone calls and Zoom meetings that were happening all during the year to try and keep the thing ticking over. It wasn't easy with no fundraising or anything to be able to be done with the county board, but they somehow put it together, and we never wanted for a bit as a team. And just lifting that cup was just a thanks to everyone, and just, you know, and just happy for everyone that we all won that All Ireland together, and grateful for everyone who put in the work into us to allow us to compete and to win as well.
And of course, deserving winners too, and a great year. And as we mentioned earlier on, so close to a double. Erinn, final question in this segment. I know there's lots we didn't get to, but ambitions for this year. I have no doubt, COVID-19 permitting, you want to be in Croke Park for an All-Ireland Premier Junior final, and hopefully deliver another title for Cavan as well. Is there any other actions outside that, or will everything be geared towards, hopefully, again, we're saying, that you get a chance to line out in Croke Park in a Premier Junior final?
Well, I suppose with the county end of things, yeah, definitely that would be the dream come September or July or whenever. We don't know when these fixtures are going to be set in stone, but whenever it is, yeah. But we're not going to be looking at that. When we set out in January again, it'll be taking training session by training session, training game by training game, and getting our performances in. Start first by getting people fit and sharp, getting the first touch in, working together in in-house games to try and get our strategy together and get girls familiarised again with playing together, and then take it league game by league game, looking at where we're going wrong, where we can change up things, and just going from there. It's a building process, you know. You can't get to the top without going step by step. So step by step will be training session and game by game, and building and looking at our performances and constantly looking to improve or change things around so that we're constantly on our toes, and just keep people biting at the bit, keep girls competitive for positions and jerseys, and that's what will drive the team on. And hopefully we're still thereabouts come July.
Well, Erinn, we wish you the very, very best of luck, whether it's with Cavan, with Crusherlaw, or with Lacken, whatever comes in 2021. Before we let you go, of course, we've one more bit of business to do, and that is the players' favourite moment in these interviews, the Fantastic Four, where Erinn in a moment will pick the two best players she has played with. Now, that can be club, county, college, any criteria you decide yourself, and the two best players that you've played against. So, Erinn, we're going to kick off your Fantastic Four. The best player you've played with and why?
I think the best, well, this is now hard, very hard. There's only people could be in for this, but one of the best players I've ever played camogie would have to be our half forward Sinead McKenna. The reasons behind that is her solid work rate and her application to her sport into both club and county. She's an inspiration. She works so hard to improve herself. She's a free taker. She's there morning, noon and night on a pitch somewhere practicing her frees. Her work rate is second to none. She's always there driving us on. You can always rely on her on the big day that she will show up and she'll put her body on the line and she put her head in where other people wouldn't put their foot. To me as captain, she's inspiring with her how much drive and motivation she has to achieve. She's so critical on herself. She's always wanting to improve. She's always looking at the team and where we can improve. She's hard satisfied, but that's testament to her as a player, you know. She's also a great friend, a great teammate. I think everyone will hold her hand up to that one. So she'd be one of the best anyway.
I definitely would concur with all that. She was the standout name for me. I think when I watched the group match against Tyrone in the Nancy Murray Cup, and of course I'd seen the damage she can do in the flesh in that All-Ireland Premier Junior semi-final. So Sinead McKenna from Cavan is the first pick. Erinn Galligan, the second player you played with. Why?
I think Roisin O'Keefe is one of the next ones. It has to be. She just oozes flair and grace with a hurl in her hand. Roisin has been around the camogie scene for years. She's been one of the ones that have been consistently in and around camogie teams in Cavan and with her club for the whole way through. She's just a natural camogie player. And then with the count, she's experienced as well. She's a great reader of the game. she's a great playmaker. She was our centre half forward there with Cavan, and she just sets up plays. She can see the play develop in advance, and she's also a great shot taker. And like that, her work rate and her commitment to both club and county is second to none. She's put her whole life into her sport, and it's just reward that she's definitely one of the best footballers and camogie players that I've ever played with as well. She plays at my club at Lacken football, and I would have played county football with her as well. So, and she's a great friend as well, of course. But I think that she has it in every angle as well on the camogie and football pitch.
I think you were reading my All-Ireland semi-final report from last year because Roisin O'Keefe and Sinead McKenna were the two players in attack I was picking out in particular, and Roisin set up so many scores in that game as well as getting some important ones herself. So it's Roisin O'Keefe and Sinead McKenna. Now, Erinn, it's time for the two players you played against. So first, the best player you played against and why?
Well, I suppose it'd be hard to go by Ciara Donnelly, who was player of the match in the All-Ireland final there against Armagh. She scored 13 points, which is incredible. 7 of those were from play, 6 were from frees. So I think 4 frees, 2 45s. She was next to unstoppable, to be honest. She was shooting her agility to turn a player and find space and get in scores from awkward angles was, you'd stand in awe. And then her long range striking from out near midfield, she was popping over with scores. Very, very hard to mark for any defender who, will try to be on her, because you don't know what she's going to do next, take you on or just shoot from distance. She's pure talent, and like that, she's been around camogie ranks in Ulster for years and has won all accolades. But again, she showed there in the All-Ireland final her pure class.
Yeah, and you know what? Well, it's impossible to kind of look back with take anything out losing an All-Ireland final, but at least when the other team, and in particular a player like Ciara, as you mentioned, plays very, very well, you can take some solace of that just on the day that she was the top player in the field, or the better team might have got the edge. It's a tough one to take. So we have Sinead McKenna from Cavan, Roisin O'Keefe from Cavan, and Ciara Donnelly from Armagh. Erinn Galligan, it's time to complete the Fantastic Four. The second player you played against, and why?
We played Limerick in Limerick's second team in a league match in Cavan there at the beginning of the year in February time. And I suppose I had the first cut of Rebecca Noonan. She mightn't be like a household name of a senior camogie player and mightn't be on the senior Limerick team. But I got my hands full with her during the year. So I think I was a bit tormented by that. But like that, very like Ciara Donnelly, had the ability to take on players, would find space. She just crept away from me so many times to be able to find space and shoot over some phenomenal scores. And again, her free taking is unbelievable. Like, you couldn't foul at all within nearly the 65, or she could put a free over. She's very agile as well, very, very wristy with the hurl, very hard marked. But I think it's because I had a personal experience with trying to mark her that I'd have to rate her as one of the best that I've marked anyway.
Well, you've got a SportsDaz exclusive here with Erinn Galligan now. Rebecca Noonan, one to watch in 2021. And when she makes the breakthrough, we'll tell you that we heard it here first on the fair green. So let's run through Erinn Galligan's Fantastic Four again. Sinead McKenna from Cavan, Roisin O'Keefe from Cavan, Ciara Donnelly from Armagh, and Rebecca Noonan from Limerick. Erinn, this has been an absolute pleasure. I've really, really enjoyed this conversation. Well done again to everything that Cavan and your two clubs, Crosslaw and Lacken, achieved in 2020, and look forward to watching with keen interest in 2021 to continue the success story. And I've no doubt we will talk again over the next 12 months. Erinn Galligan from Cavan, this week's guest in the Fair Green. And with that being said, Erinn, thank you very much.
Thanks a million, Darren. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it. Thank you.